part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome back, everybody, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I'm your host, Damon Royster, and today we are continuing our Summer of X with coverage of the film The New Mutants, a.k.a. Degrassi, the X Generation. Real ones now. Joining me on this, I don't even know what to call it, this romp, this detour off the X-Men path for what can only be described as a true failure. I have two winners with me to talk about a failure. My first guest, oh my gosh, the accolades, comedy writer, an essay and stand-up performer. Every third Saturday of the month, they host a show at a wine bar. The show is called The Nonfiction Show. The wine bar is called Vino. And they also are the writer of a short film called Flirting, directed by a very handsome podcast host, me, that is coming soon. All those accolades. She's right here. I'm going to be staying at her house next week. Please welcome to your ears, Katie Visser.
Hi. Hello.
Katie, how are you doing?
Good. I'm doing well. I had zero stakes in this movie. I kept it very light, and it's good to know that I don't have to have any stakes in this movie. So it's very exciting.
The entire time I watched it, I was like, God, I can't believe I made Katie watch this. I kept looking for...
It's a little gay, so that's nice.
And I was like, thank God, at least for that. Okay, we'll get into that. We have to introduce our second guest. My gosh, a 3-time podcast guest of this as of now. I have yet to give him a real winner or a real reason to be here, and I do apologize for that. But, you know, he's an actor, a filmmaker, writer, OG Marylander, and I'll have you know, he was in one Amazon show, and that's more than anyone else on this call. Please welcome to your ears, Jesse Kendall.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Damon.
Katie, you worked on an Amazon show.
I did, yes.
Oh, damn. All right. You're even.
That was like my one accolade, Katie.
We can share it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
There's enough Amazon for all of us. Jesse, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. This movie was wild. Full disclosure, I fell asleep several times.
Hey,
I tried to watch, I tried to watch the full thing last night over a casual smoke of the weed, and I didn't make it through. So this morning I attempted a fast completion of it, but I saw plenty. I tell you, I saw plenty. This was it's such a make funnable movie. It's ideal for it.
Very ideal. I mean, Katie Visser, a writer in your own right. Can you summarize what this movie was about?
Oh boy. Okay. Right. So I keep wanting to say this group of children, but I do think they are in their 30s. So this group of people,
they were giving teen energy.
I was going to say they act like teenagers for sure. They end up in what they are calling a hospital where they have all had they've all had terrible lives, first of all. And they end up in this place where there's a doctor who I don't believe is a doctor from day one. And she is like treating them for these, they're mutants. They have like powers and they have all these spooky, weird things happening, and she's treating them. And there's a dome over the whole place. They can't get out. They're stuck. And so there's a little bit of like a how do we get out of here element to it. Mm-hmm. My summary is falling apart. What else?
Just like the movie. So I think it's a great summary.
Well, there you go. It all falls apart.
Yeah. I mean, okay. The New Mutants, came out in 2020. I think this movie is lucky it came out in 2020 because I think we all forgot about it. I think it was quickly put on like HBO Max right away. Like, these are mutants. I've looked them all up. I think the one I knew the most was Wolfsbane, which is Rain, which is Maisie Williams, who is Arya. So many names to describe this one woman because I remember her from like the X-Men Evolutions TV show. But, you know, it's like teen mutants, and there's this idea that they're like, these are like the worst of the worst. Like, their powers are too strong to be in like normal society. And so Dr. Reyes, with no staff, this one doctor is just like, I'll get them. And Roberto is like also making their meals and doing the dishes. I'm just like, where are the people? Like, It felt like a trap from the jump. Jesse Kendall, producer Michael did some research on you, and you spent some time in a facility much like this. Did you feel like it was similar to your experience?
Yeah, it's exactly how it goes. There's usually one person who watches over us. And if that person falls asleep, we're having fun. If that one person who runs the entire facility falls asleep, we're having fun, but not escaping.
Right.
And yeah, there is solitary confinement at these places, which didn't clue us in at all to how bad the facility was. We just thought it was normal to have solitary confinement in a non-prison.
Yeah. I'm glad you made it through that.
And I cooked. I cooked for everybody, and I was super hot.
Clearly. Wait, attractive wise, or you had the firepower like Roberto?
Attractive wise, I didn't have any powers.
I think one in the same.
Yeah, both.
Because as Roberto told us, he burned his girlfriend.
Killed her. Also, there was a random demon.
The bear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have questions about that, but I'll let you continue. But
yeah. Please ask all your questions. I unfortunately know all the answers, but I do want to say this. My joke for this movie is like, wow, what a roundabout way to advertise for FX is the bear.
Yes.
This whole movie feels like they were given an empty hospital and 5 actors and a couple cameras, and they're like, go wild.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those movies where it feels disingenuous to go over the plot because that implies that there is a plot. So let's go character by character. Let's start with Danny. Jesse Kendall, you said you had questions. Do you have any questions about Danny and the bear manifestation? I unfortunately know the whole deal.
Yeah. See, because I fell asleep so much, I was a little confused was the demon sourced from Danny? Like the bear power demon she has within her was creating all these fear manifestations for the other characters, yeah?
Yeah.
So Ileana was right. Anya Taylor-Joy's character was right when she was like, it's ever since you got here, all this shit's been happening.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Danny in the comics, her superhero name is Mirage, and she has the ability to like manifest your fears and also your desires into real flesh and blood things that can hurt you or please you, depending on what she manifests.
While we're on the topic of Danny, isn't that kind of the best superpower you could ever possibly have? Like, isn't it the best one? I mean, I love it. I think I'm like, it would be stressful, but really good.
Yeah, I mean, once you learn how to control it, as Dr. Reyes said, was there no research? Like, how were they collecting these people? That's what that was my thing of like, how did Dr. Reyes, not know what she did? It's like, oh, you're powerful. Let's take you and just figure it out.
Well, I think we only see one file. Way later on, she goes or Anya Taylor-Joy finds her own file from the doctor randomly. Like, she's like, oh, my file. And it's literally like on the ground. And so she finds her file, but I guess there were only files on a few of them, not on everybody.
Right. Katie, I thought that was gonna be like, and then I'll read my file. Then I'll read my file. Anya Taylor's like, here's mine. Figured it out.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Okay, and also for the X-Men fans, hopefully you're still listening to this podcast, but this is supposed to be tied to the X-Men villain, Mr. Sinister, who, if you can believe, is a bad guy. His whole thing is he's a mutant that experiments on other mutants and tries to like make weird concoctions and like killers and all this stuff. And his company is called the Essex Group, which is the company that was funding this hospital. But we didn't even see him. Saw this dumbass flunky Dr. Reyes.
Is he who Reyes kept on calling her superior? That's the guy, right?
Yeah, that is Mr. Sinister, who we should have seen, but we did not.
I've got so much X-Men knowledge. No, I don't.
Look at you. Oh, God, from Moon Knight to this.
There are major holes in my repertoire. Holes.
And that's on me. You both deserve a good. Although, Katie, Moon Knight was pretty good.
I thought it was fun. But I don't trust myself liking things. A lot of times I like things and people go, nope, it was crap. So
True.
Did you watch the pilot, Katie? what did you guys watch of Moon Knight? The whole thing, or
The whole thing?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Let's continue on our journey of the New Mutants. Anya Taylor-Joy, I would say the biggest name in this cast, next to Maisie Williams.
Well, Maisie Williams was billed over Anya Taylor-Joy in the credits.
Ooh, ooh la la. Well, then you know what? Let's do the same. Let's go to Maisie Williams because then that will tie it to Danny and their relationship. Katie Visser, known lesbian about town. What
Accurate.
what were your feelings about the Maisie Williams character, Rain? A goofy name, if I don't say so myself.
A goofy name. Okay, what are my feelings? My feelings were she comes on the screen and I go, gay. And then I'm like, great. And I'm like, we have one. Yes, excellent. But yes, immediately gay, and I liked her. I thought it was like, this is why I keep saying the teens or the children, because that romance between Danny and Rain was very, very like YA teen romancing.
Oh yeah, I think that's why if listeners, I'm wearing my Teen Titans T-shirt right now. It was such in honor of this is the better New Mutants, Teen Titans. But yeah, it did have like very YA feelings. Like I think the farthest they went is holding hands and staring at each other while laying on the floor.
They made out. They did make out, but it was like, again, it was a very polite make out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the signature line? I have it written down. It was, hold on, let me find it. Oh, here it is. Have you ever done this with a girl?
Oh,
with
yeah.
Anyone?
Yeah, she goes, I've never done this before. And she goes, with a girl? And she's like, no, with anybody. Yeah. Oh my God. Terrible. So terrible. And I don't want to hear that. Okay, since you already called me the lesbian about town, I want to declare I don't ever, in any form of entertainment ever again, want to hear a single person ever say, this is my first time doing this with a girl. I don't want you to say it anymore.
Is it a common thing that gets said?
Yes, and it takes all of the romance out of it immediately. It's like, okay, that's dead.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Rain. I agree, but her power, I really hate. I hate this Teen Wolf thing. Like,
yeah,
and like so weak.
So weak. I mean, at least, she like dropped on Dr. Reyes's head at one point, just kind of like claws at her. But like, these are supposed to be like destructive powers, and you've got Wolfsbane. She just turns into like a wild animal. It's just too animorphs for me. It's you got like Roberto, who's like burning people alive. Fucking Cannonball, who I someone else needs to talk about him. I hate him. And Danny could make your fears manifest, but it's just like she turns into a wolf. Why is that bad? Because she's filled with Catholic guilt? I don't know.
Oh, and don't get me started on the Catholic guilt.
Yeah,
they had the thing where she got branded with with a W for wolf.
Right.
Don't forget, you're a wolf.
It looks like an M half the time.
Well, yeah, because she gets a second branding and it's upside down, so it's an M.
And in another great example of wonderful dialogue, superb dialogue in this movie, when they are in the shower together and Danny sees the branding, she asks her about it, and Maisie Williams does not want to talk about it, and she goes, "It wasn't my idea." And we're like, "No shit, of course it wasn't your idea. Yeah. You've been branded on the back of your body. I don't think it was your idea."
Don't get any ideas. I didn't want to do this. Okay. I didn't want this brand. Don't get mad at me.
Oh my God. Also, in my notes, because I did also take thorough notes like it was school. I did say this movie has a little too much confessional booth for me because I was flashing back to my childhood.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I made you watch this.
Yeah, that time you got branded, Katie. Sorry.
The cumulative hours and hours spent in a confessional, as for a Catholic kid.
Oh, yeah, actual confessional. I thought you were speaking like figuratively for how many times each character got to explain their histories.
No, that too. But I meant the literal confession booth that she was in all the time. Yeah. And it was this is a really Catholic movie. Maybe we should brand it as that. It was like they're on this campus that they're on this campus that's like they keep calling it a hospital, but it's very much like a school. And they're all going to chapel, and they're all shit talking the chapel. And I was like, this is a Catholic school. This is great.
The characters think that they're going to be the X-Men. They're like, oh, we're getting training so we can join the X-Men. I'm like, you fucking wish you could be an X-Man.
So they're not they're not showing their qualifications to join. Not
really. I don't know. I'm just still on Wolf Girl. I'm like, what? Oh, like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Her power, she should have more werewolf-like powers. Like, she's a little bit out of her control. It's not a normal wolf. It can stand on two legs. It's like rage filled. You know, it should have been uncontrollable, but she had full control over the wolf. She could be the wolf whenever she could act like a dog, cuddle like.
That's true. She had full control, and when they were making out and her eyes changed, and Danny was like, oh, like they were like, oh shit. She was just like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she's like, it's no problem. I like it. And they just continue making out. I was like, oh, there's no consequence for it whatsoever.
Yeah. And the wolf eyes are beautiful.
Speaking of beautiful eyes, Anya Taylor-Joy, the Queen's Gambit herself. Jesse Kendall, producer Michael did some fact finding. You actually dated Anya Taylor-Joy during filming of this movie.
And she was too much. She, that little puppet she had.
Lockheed? Yeah.
Yeah, the pterodactyl crow puppet, Lockheed. She carried it everywhere with her while we were dating.
And you mean everywhere?
Everywhere. Coffee shops, work functions, when I had to bring a +1 to my office parties.
And she brought a +1.
She brought Lockheed.
A +2.
Yeah, I know. She wasn't even following the rules. And she broke up with me because I couldn't take it seriously. That little fucking puppet.
What did you think of Ilyana?
I liked her. I mean, worst and best character. I mean, they were all bad. Blaster guy was really bad. But I thought she was the most entertaining because her lines were just so bad. I mean, all of them were, but she had she was given all the classic one-liners of something. Like at the end where her puppet turns into an actual pterodactyl. And she has a few one-liners at the end there that are just horrible. She has a metal arm with a sword. Like, what the fuck is that? What is she?
Okay. Here we go. So her X-Men superhero name is Magic with a K, Magick. Oh. And it's one of those crazy, like how Scarlet Witch, her powers are chaos magic. Yeah. Magic, the character, she can teleport to this weird place that's like the other dimension she keeps going into, and she gets magical powers when she goes to it. It's a very complex thing. So she can call on this metal arm and teleport and get her eyes all blue and shit. It's nonsense to me. It's nonsense. Here's what I'll say. I'm sure it will make sense in a comic book where you have you're reading and you can oh, here's all her power details and everything. But for a movie, I'm I don't care. Just streamline it and make it make sense. And she's got these fucking fang people that she's tormented by.
They were scary.
And this movie, I'm going to say it's a little toothless because I think this character was going through an issue of sexual assault, and they were kind of saying it, but not really saying it, kind of saying it, it's, something happened. And
for sure something happened. Yes.
And they just went with, I don't know, her whole character of just being and me, I'm the bitch. Everyone.
She's very racist in the beginning too.
Yes.
Definitely racist. And that's her whole thing is she's kind of one of those people who's I tell it like it is, and you're no, you're just a bad person.
Yeah. She had a directly racist line about Native American, I forget what it was. It was something about an animal. It was animal based insult, right?
Yes,
that feels right.
She says to Danny that were directly racist for sure.
God.
So, I mean,
to me, it was just giving oh, you have long hair. That's my thing.
And I had been like upset about that, and then I wrote down in my notes, this is like probably like a third in, I go, Ileana also scoffed at gifts people have from their dead fathers. She's a real gem.
Yeah. She really went hard on the dead dad thing. And I was like, girl, for what? For what?
No.
You're all prisoners in a hospital.
But then it's like she absolutely has her trauma too, that is like very real. And like I can get the like I don't like obviously there's no excuse for the racism, but I can get the being a bitch because you went through some terrible stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what would have saved this movie? A time jump. Like after Danny gets to this hospital, flash forward 6 months, or a year. Like because then I just wasn't buying why everyone was so mean to each other. Like she just got here. Like and how long was everyone there before Danny got there? We don't know.
Yeah, right. Also, there was this line. What was the hot guy's name? Like the fire killed his girlfriend?
Roberto.
So Roberto has this line when they're in that like group circle in the beginning where Danny Moonstar's first introduced. Danny walks in and interrupts the meeting they're already having. And everyone's like, what? Who's that? And Dr. Reyes is like, this is our new patient, Danielle Moonstar. And then Roberto laughs. He's like, then he pauses and he goes, oh, it's serious. It's like, of course it's serious. Why would they jokingly bring in a new person to this group just to mess with you, Roberto? She's a new addition. It's not funny. And
also, even if they were doing it as a joke, why is that funny? I wouldn't laugh. I'd be like, this is a dumb joke. Oh, you're serious?
Yeah, this is not even barely a joke, guys.
No. Let's take it into our last New Mutants. Let's just talk about the boys together, Sam and Roberto. We've kind of talked about Roberto. I want to talk about this guy, Sam. This actor, he's on Stranger Things.
I was gonna say, I've been calling him Jonathan from Stranger Things the whole time.
Charlie Heaton is the actor's name. And Katie Visser, can you tell me why did he do that accent? I think you were his vocal coach on set. Producer Michael was telling me, why did you choose that accent for him?
He went so rogue. We worked on it so much. For months ahead of time, we worked on it. He gets to set, it's all over. Nothing I did stuck at all. This was the most aggressive Southern accent I've ever heard in my life.
It's like ding, dang, dong, ding, bang, bang, bong.
It's like, I really want people to know that I'm from the South. I'm not from here. I'm from somewhere else.
Worked in the mines.
And he's got this full, like, he looks like he works at Jiffy Lube. And
he's like covered in oil. Covered in oil. Like he hasn't washed his hat. His hat was soaked in oil.
I'm just like, do they not have laundry at this hospital? Like, what can they do?
Oh, man.
And so his superhero name in the comics is Cannonball, and I do remember him. Some of these mutants are familiar from the X-Men Evolution cartoon series, which I'll be talking about. I probably have talked about this already on the Logan podcast. But Cannonball, his whole thing is that he can go really fast and kind of shoot himself around like a cannonball with a protective shield around him. We get introduced to him while he chains himself to, I guess, a tetherball contraption and flies around the courtyard. Oh, Cannonball. And is he nervous to use his powers, I think? Because he's afraid he'll hurt people. Is that his Achilles heel?
I think he must have killed a bunch of people in the mine. Did he ever fully go into that? I didn't.
He did. That's how his dad died, yeah.
He considers himself responsible for his dad's death, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Get in line. Who doesn't? I mean,
amen.
Did anyone like him? My guess, did anyone like him?
I don't want to be rude. I'm really afraid of being very rude in this moment, but I didn't like Jonathan in Stranger Things. I never have, and I never will. And now I don't like this guy. And I'm like, sorry, Charlie. So sorry. But this is, you're 0 for 2 with me. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, and when you're 0 for 2, maybe we should just stop doing it,
Yeah.
I'll give him, he's good at when he was fighting the little like creepy men from Anya Taylor-Joy's Nightmares. Like he's very good at fighting scary monsters and like being scared but still fighting, which I think is the best thing about him on Stranger Things, is he's terrified while he's like bashing in these monsters, and he sells that. I'm like, he's really scared and he's fighting for his life, but go back to fixing my car. Jesse, were you going to say something?
Oh yeah, I mean, in Stranger Things, I liked him in the first like 2 seasons, but then he kind of becomes this like kind of fuck boy a little bit, because he's dating Nancy, but he like stops really paying attention to the relationship and focusing on it. And then when she starts to have magic with Steve again, he's a little thrown off. I'm like, what did you expect, man? You weren't like putting time into your relationship. But that's Stranger Things. In this, I just
snaps.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm so excited by everything you're saying. And the fact that anybody would think that he could go up against Steve with Nancy is ridiculous.
Right? He's got to put in all the work if he's going to keep Nancy. He sucks.
Nancy temporarily lost her mind, and she was with him for a while. Then she wised up, and he's a fool for thinking that. She was back to Steve.
Well, Steve was mean. Steve was a little mean.
Steve
in
was
the beginning.
mean.
But then Steve got better. Steve met Robin. It got better. Sorry if this is becoming a Stranger Things podcast.
I'm here for that.
But honestly, my favorite plotline in Stranger Things are the teens. Not the kids, not the adults. I like the teens.
Yeah.
Amen.
They're more our age,
Yeah. Yeah, someone close to my age. Just 17, 18. Yeah, just like my age.
Can we comment on the number of times they say blast? Like when
they say it a lot.
First asked what's his power, and I think Maisie Williams was like, "Oh, he can blast off," and that's how they keep describing his power throughout the movie. Like they describe it as blasting. It's just blasting. Did you guys notice this?
I don't know. Katie, did you notice any blasting?
I think I did notice them say that once. I don't know if I clocked that they were saying it a lot. But
yeah, they said it once later in the movie. Oh, okay. So when Sam was revealing his trauma to, I forget which character, he was talking about his dad. He was like, yeah, we were in the mines one day. And the character he was talking to goes, and you blasted? And he goes, yeah, killed my dad. So someone asks him, and you blasted? And he goes, yeah, killed my dad.
Absolutely.
I couldn't. I was like, really? This is the word you chose, blasted.
I think that's in the coroner report for everyone who died in that mine. Blasted to hell. And speaking of getting blasted, we're going to get blasted and take a break. Podcast 616 will be right back, and we're going to talk more about the New Mutants, and dare I say we'll get into what happened. It's going to be a blast, so keep it right here, and we'll be right back. Welcome, everyone, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I am your host, Damon Royster, and I am inviting you to listen and subscribe to this Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. On Podcast 616, we gather some of today's greatest comedians, writers, and actors to dive deep into all things Marvel, like comic book history and lore, all the interconnected superhero storylines, and of course, who's hot and who's not in the MCU. Honestly, why aren't you listening right now? You have the power to listen to Podcast 616. And as we always say, with great power comes even greater responsibility. Listen and subscribe to Podcast 616 wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we're back. We're still talking about the New Mutants, whether you like it or not. And I'm pretty confident most people don't. I don't think anyone on this podcast wants to be talking about this movie. But we have one character we've yet to address. Dr. Reyes. Dr. Reyes. Katie Visser, you interned with Dr. Reyes, I think, for a summer. What was that like?
It was a whole lot and also nothing at all, which is really kind of indicative of her personality, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you, was your favorite scene?
Kind of a sham at some points. Yeah.
Did you like, my favorite scene with her is when she's meditating with the mutants and she's just like, control.
Oh my God.
Control.
I don't know. I don't know if she knows what her job is or where she is. I don't know. But my favorite thing about Dr. Reyes, can I say my favorite thing about Dr. Reyes?
Please.
My absolute favorite thing is that when the mutants are causing any kind of shenanigans or even thinking about causing a shenanigan, she takes on the persona of Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory when he's like, no, stop, you silly boy. I told you not to, no, fire, help. She's like,
yeah.
complete deadpan, Willy Wonka style. That's what I was thinking of the whole time, which is like,
yes.
But I said, no, don't, there will be trouble. Like like there's no emotion in her whatsoever.
Absolutely not.
At the beginning of the movie, when Danny arrives, she walks with that limp and then she somersaults into a normal walk.
Yes, she does. That is true.
I would love if there were secretly Oompa Loompas running this hospital, because where's the staff?
Yeah.
But
they're drinking fizzy lifting drinks in the back.
We should have looked up. Dr. Reyes, I don't know. She's in the comics. This is what I don't understand. Dr. Cecilia Reyes, who is an X-Man, but in this movie she's just villainous. But like in a boring way. Like what? Like if she's supposed to be training them for killers, why isn't she like leading them through exercises where they have to like kill pedestrians or something? You know, like here's a crash test dummy, decapitate him. Like all she's doing is just like stay here, don't leave, and control. Jesse, Kendall, you famously have a mutant power that is destructive. Would this work on you? Would this kind of like tactic to get you to like calm down, like to working with Dr. Reyes? Would that work on you?
Yes. It would. I think I'm very independent. I don't like people telling me what to do. I like finding out things on my own. I think Dr. Reyes, her approach is perfect. I would just need probably 25 years in that institution to master my power, and then I'd be ready to be set loose. Minimum. So her technique works. It just takes a long time.
And also, Jesse, Kendall, remind me, what is your destructive mutant power that you have?
I have a really strong bite force.
A bite force?
Yeah, I have like a really strong bite force. So if I bite down on anything, I can break it. It sucks because I can't hook up with people or.
You're very into biting.
Or like, is it
or eat?
The problem to eat?
I like obliterate food too hard when I eat it, so I can't. It just turns into mush, and it's not good.
Okay. That's how I was gonna say. That's normally how food and eating works.
No, it just tastes really bad because I mush it down so hard.
It's like astronaut food.
Yeah, and all my food tastes like space food, and it sucks. So I have to drink smoothies to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I love smoothies. That's great. I love smoothies.
It's not bad.
Speaking of survival, so our new mutants. Can we even say that they save the day? Like they just kind of are like, oh, Danny, your power is hurting us. Stop.
I will tell you this. They certainly think that they have saved the day. They do believe, and they're quite proud of it. And they also have moments of, oh no, I'm not saving the day. I have to save the day. They have that.
Like I love Anya Taylor-Joy at one point gets like a full like Sailor Moon moment where she's like walking into a portal and her hair is blowing in the wind and she like looks over her shoulder like, actually, I rock.
And then do you remember what happens when she does that? Do you remember that the boys are in the window? Do you remember what they say?
What do they say?
Oh, they say, I'm going to marry her one day. Or something like that, right? Roberta's.
It's something like, it was like, that's hot.
And one says that's hot and the other one says, I'm going to marry her. I'm going to marry that girl.
No, she has years of trauma to unpack. Leave her alone.
50.
Yeah, marry her at 50.
Yeah. Why? You guys are like 16. Like, who Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, Danny gets over her fear of fear with a little mind walk with her wolf girlfriend, who hasn't been there. I wasn't going to say this because I don't want to alienate the viewership, but whatever. This is a Marvel podcast. Can I just go up? I'm going to pop up for 1 second. There was a scene where they were watching an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer in the den, and I understand why they picked it. It was the scene where Willow and her girlfriend Tara kiss, and it was the first lesbian kiss that had ever happened on Buffy, and I think maybe the WB or television in general. It was like a huge, huge thing.
I thought it was Buffy, but that was the scene?
That was the scene. Yeah, that was the scene. But as a Buffy fan, I know that scene and that episode. That's the episode where Buffy's mom dies of a brain aneurysm, and it's a very much a departure from the usual vampire lore. Like, there's no supernatural shit. It's like a very bleak, stark episode, and I'm like, who the fuck is watching that in a group? Like, that is not an episode you just pull up like, yeah, I'll just watch The Body. Like, you as a Buffy fan, I'm like, you're a fucking psycho if you put that on. Like, hey guys, let's watch Buffy, let's watch this really depressing episode. Like, I was like, Maisie Williams, you're a fucking freak, man. Only a freak ass would put that episode of Buffy on. As a Buffy fan, I was like, this is psychotic behavior. Put on the musical. Put on the episode where they lose their voices. You don't put on that episode when her mom dies. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that.
Wow.
Woo! Okay. Any final thoughts on the New Mutants? Is there anything we have not covered?
Can we talk about how I'm going back to the end where they're like, the church is being destroyed, which again, most Catholic movie ever, maybe. Like, everything happens in a church, like everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so the church is being destroyed, the bear is there, like all of that, and then the hot guy is like, and I'm not commenting on his attractiveness in this moment. The hot guy is like,
that's all he has. He's
going like, he's afraid to do it, to like use his powers. And Jonathan from Stranger Things goes, and this is how anytime you have me on this podcast, this is how I talk about people. I don't know any of their actual context or names, but
I'll take it.
Jonathan from Stranger Things literally says to him, and this is like, he likes Ileana, so he wants to, stand up for her, whatever. And he can't do it, can't use his powers. And Jonathan from Stranger Things goes, nut up, is what he says to him.
I remember that.
He literally says, hey, dude, nut up and do it. And he's like, okay, here we go. And I was like, whoa.
You challenged my masculinity. This is what I needed.
Saving the girl was not quite enough. Challenging the masculinity didn't. It really
you think
didn't.
I'm not toxic? You think I can't be toxic? I'll nut up.
Right.
God. Thank you, Katie. Thank you for that. Also, I would say this is a very anti-Catholic movie because I remember there's that scene where Ileana is like showing Danny around the school, and she's like, "There's a chapel if you're into that kind of thing."
Oh yeah, they're very sassy about it. Yes, they are.
Yeah, I left this movie feeling like I should not go to church. Thank you, New Mutants. You've convinced me.
But Damon, no demons can get in churches. She says that about 13 million times in this movie.
She really does.
No demons in churches, or no demons in churches. And again, I flashed back to my childhood.
But there was literally a demon bear in the church. Anyway.
Yeah, 100%. That's how it all went down. It was in the church.
So how do they defeat the bear in the end? I think that was like, does Danny get hurt, or Danny defeats it herself and it turns into a good bear?
Yeah, Danny like goes and pets the snout of the bear, and she's like, "It's okay." Basically, calming herself because that's her subconscious. She like soothes the bear. The most unnecessary voiceover, and I watch all of Grey's Anatomy, but this was really a necessary voiceover of like, you're either a good bear or a bad bear, and whoever you choose, it depends on which one you feed.
Yeah.
Because that was the beginning of the movie, right?
Yeah.
That was the mantra that her dad gave her, so it comes back in the end too. But it like literally just comes back. Like how like a lot of times the endings of movies will mirror the beginnings. This one didn't so much mirror it as just repeat it verbatim, like exactly the same as. We were like, right. No, like you said in the beginning, we got it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it still applies at the end. Jesse Kendall, any final thoughts about the New Mutants?
It would have been really fun to watch with like a large group of people. It's really bad. I think like it was written by a 15-year-old. That's my thought.
I'm jealous you got representation. So that's the New Mutants. I guess that's all we're going to do today. Wait. No. That was your greatest fear, listener, being manifested by Danny, that we wouldn't do a fuck, marry, kill. Of course, we're going to end a podcast episode with fuck, marry, kill, and we're going to do the New Mutants. You know, I told my guests one thing, and I'm completely changing my mind. The boys are off the table. I couldn't care less about Sam or Roberto. We're going to do a classic 3-character fuck, marry, kill, and on the docket today are Danny, Ileana, and Rain. We will fuck, marry, and kill one of these adult women for these purposes. I will go first to give my guests time to think. Oh, God. I am going to kill... I'm honestly going to kill Rain. I'm going to kill Wolfsbane. I think her power is so dumb. I just get out of here. She's, you know, I know she's probably the nicest one, but I just think, I don't know, her shit just bugs me. Like, get over it. Get out of here. I know I'm killing the known gay character. I'm so sorry. Happy Pride, everybody. But this episode's dropping in July. I'm killing Wolfsbane because too much hair. I don't need. That's what it is. Too much hair on the upholstery and my clothes. I can't get a lint roll fast enough. So killing Wolfsbane. My fuck. I feel like it has to be Ileana. I feel like she'll bully me into doing it. Like, she's terrifying. It'll be an experience. I hope she brings a sword, and you know, hopefully I make it out of it alive so I can marry Danny. Because while she can manifest fear, she can also manifest desires and joy. And I hope that in our union, we can have more joy and dreams and less fears and horrors. And that's my fuck, marry, kill. Jesse Kendall, let's go to you next.
Okay, I got mine down. I would marry Rain, Maisie Williams' character, because I love dogs. She'd be great to cuddle with.
Bow wow.
Like inhuman and off human. Like she'd just be a great cuddler. Just really something to settle down with. She's sweet, like good heart, definite marriage material. Fuck Ileana, Anya Taylor-Joy's character. Fiery, exactly what you want for a one-night stand. But you don't want to marry because she's got that puppet, which is insane.
Forgot about the puppet.
And when she would add a voice to the puppet, I'm like, what are you doing? Why did she take on that role? That almost tanked her career. Almost, I mean, maybe because she was so young, but like, what a dumb move. And I would kill Danny because I don't have anything against her. I just, you know, her power can like go bad. Like if she was manifesting fears for me by accident or something, like that would suck. Yeah, that's my final answer. Yeah.
Beautiful answers. Thank you. Forgot about that puppet. The puppet is a factor. Katie Visser, who are your picks?
My picks are identical to Jesse's, so we'll just get that out of the way right now. I have a couple of different reasons, like they're very similar reasons too. Rain, I will marry Rain. Rain is very much marriage material. Yes, she can be a little bit, I don't know. I think sometimes she can be a little bit too gentle and like doesn't stand up for herself and all of that. So that would be a problem in our marriage, but definitely. And I thought she was super cute, and I don't even like short hair that much. I know that's discrimination, but I don't even like short hair that often. And I was like, oh, but she's really cute in this movie. I liked her. Anyway, so marriage. And then when you get the other two, there's no question what you're doing with the other two after you've taken Maisie Williams out of it. I mean, come on. Like, obviously, fuck Anya Taylor-Joy. What fun. I would enjoy it so tremendously. I know I would. It would be great. And I will kill Danny because Danny was a little boring. And I also thought about it that I would kill Danny because she's the one of those three. And you're thinking like, who are you going to fuck? Who are you going to marry? She's the one that is like, oh, that's kind of like me. Like I related to her, and I feel like she's kind of like me. And so I was like, well, then I don't want to marry myself. So therefore,
you would destroy yourself.
I would just kill her so I don't have to deal with that. But I do have regret about killing her because I feel like the powers would be very useful in a lot of ways. But I kind of also just wish I didn't have to marry the person with the power. I want those powers for me.
All right. I think this was a very I don't know. This was a very decisive fuck, marry, kill. So wonderful job to all of us. And great news for Anya Taylor-Joy. I think she's going to have a great night. Great 3 nights, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the show, The New Mutants. I say, don't watch it. Listen to this podcast. Jesse, Kendall, are you online? What are you doing?
Oh, I'm very online to a fault. Yeah, my Instagram handle's at Jesse_Kendall. And yeah, I post comedy videos on my page all the time. So follow me there.
Yeah. And I'm so sorry. I will be calling you Jesse Candle going forward.
Damn it.
That's good.
It's just right there. Why didn't I know? I love candles. And I love Jesse. Katie Visser, what's going on in your life?
What's going on in my life? Yeah. I host a show every third Saturday of the month at Eno Vino Wines in Atwater Village. If you're in Los Angeles, please come check it out. It is a variety hour with live music and comedy and poetry and storytelling and all kinds of stuff. It's everything that is under the blanket of nonfiction. So come check that out every third Saturday. I wrote a movie that Damon directed that is coming soon to the world in various ways, and I'm very excited. And you can follow that at Flirting Film. And yeah, and I'm online as well at Katie L. Visser. It's on everything. Yeah.
Gorgeous. Watch that movie. Go to that show. That show pairs perfectly. The nonfiction show pairs perfectly with wine, I must say. This is Podcast 616. You can follow Podcast 616 on Instagram at Podcast 616P3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcasts, our podcasting network that lets me have a summer of X whenever I want to. Producer Michael, if you want to hop on the mic real quick, what letter grade would you give this podcast? How'd we do?
You guys got an A+.
Whoa.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Anya Taylor-Joy. This has been me, Damon Royster. We'll be back next week. God, I don't even know what we're doing. Are we doing Secret Invasion? You know what? Keep your podcast apps close. So until next time, don't forget that with great power comes even greater responsibility.